Hello and welcome to The Gaggle, where we challenge and, if necessary, destroy media narratives. I'm Ciara Haley and I'm joined today by my co-founder and the host of Crosstalk, Peter Lavelle. Today we're going to discuss our thumbs up and thumbs down for the week that's passed.
Okay, what thumbs up, Ciara?
Peter, I was just about to say, I'm not sure I have many thumbs up for the week that's just passed. It was hard to try and think of some. So what my thumbs are related to, I've got two main areas of interest. The first one I want to talk to you about is that the second wave of COVID is 100% clear. Countries all over the world are going back into lockdown. We ourselves have experienced being reinstated in our home offices, which, we both have nice bookcases. It's not that bad. But what I want to talk about in relation to COVID is healthcare schemes and if we're actually learning anything from this pandemic experience in terms of trying to improve the healthcare of our own countries. And related to this is a thumbs up attempt to relook at the US healthcare with Trump's healthcare plan that he announced earlier this week.
Well, I'm glad you kind of brought that up. I'm afraid I have to pour a lot of cold water on Trump's healthcare plan. I mean, it's like what 39 days out from the election. I mean, that's so blatant. Okay, and then his $200 executive order for to compensate for pharmaceuticals. Again, that's kind of a gimme. I would have expected so, and plus it's completely unclear if it's even constitutional. I mean, did Congress appropriate any money for it? It doesn't work that way, Mr. President. Okay, they have to appropriate the money so it can be sent out.
No legislation.
Right, and Big Pharma, they're under no obligation to do it. Okay, so I mean, it's kind of a very awkward way of going out there. I mean, you bring up healthcare. I mean, Joe Biden. This is a gift to Joe Biden. It's just a gift. Okay, I mean, and it's an unforced error. I just don't understand the Trump campaign at all. And another thing about COVID that I think is really interesting is. We're all around the world. We're getting a lot more better data. Okay, and it's really interesting that we living here in Moscow, and of course you're looking back at your home country at Ireland, and I'm obviously looking back at the U.S. And the difference couldn't be more stark. I mean, here it's like, yep, the second wave's coming. We learned what to do and what not to do during the first wave. Nobody's hair's on fire here. Nobody's politicized it. It's like we as a group on Crosstalk, we had a very long conversation and we thought it would be better to err on the side of caution because a lot of the technicians are elderly people, which is very nice of RT to keep such a cadre of elderly people around. And we just thought, hey, what difference is it going to make? What is this? Is it a significant difference for us to be staying at home or going back? And we said, no, we could put some people at risk. Let's not do it. Let's keep working hard. But then I look at the US and it's just like, this is the new civil war over masks. I mean, it just blows my mind here. So you're right. I mean, it's a thumbs up for those people that have learned the lessons and not politicized it.
That's what I mean. If we're looking, it's a thumbs up for a reignition of talks surrounding healthcare and how to improve the system. That's what I mean. Although it's a scantily clad bid for the elderly vote, essentially, obviously, coming from Trump. But I just think exactly what you said before. It's interesting when you look at a perspective. If I look at my own country, and right now my own county has got the highest level of COVID and has gone into lockdown again, which is Donegal, for anyone who didn't know. Great place to be. But this is following all the holiday makers who went in their own country, did inside tourism. This is like the biggest year for Donegal. No one goes to Donegal because there's no trains, Peter. There's few buses. You have to drive if you want to get there. And once you're there, you have to drive to get around to see everything you need to see. But of course, because the floods came in, it went from having the lowest rate of COVID to the highest, and now it's completely locked down, which is necessary, to contain when you get spikes like this. And Ireland have actually done a really good job at containing and lessening the effects and the strain of hospitals. When you compare with the neighbours in the UK, for example, they have 400,023 cases, whereas Ireland, of a similar size, has 34,000 cases. So you can see the difference of how things are working.
But see, the point is, it doesn't have to be a crisis. It has to be a problem that is managed. You see what I'm saying here? Like,
it won't go away. It will continue to be a problem.
And so you have to deal with it. You have to deal with it, okay? It's annoying, it's painful. In a small number of cases, it's emotionally a crisis. I get that, but that's why we're taking these precautions. And it really irritates me when, I mean, particularly from an American perspective or American experience, is that you have to take a side. It's like, what are you guys talking about?
Yeah. This is the thing, there is no sides for people's health. It's a thing that affects every single person on this planet. Health is paramount. You know, it says your health is your wealth. It applies to every single person on the planet. And when you look at the countries who've handled it best, actually, I think this is not very often discussed, but I think there is a definite climate factor to do with countries that have had success, like Australia, New Zealand. If you look at then Asia, you have like Taiwan, Singapore, and South Korea have all handled it very well. But I'd like to see more research into the climate factor, actually, because it seems the colder the country, then the more widespread you have the virus.
Well, you know what? I'm willing to make a wager. 10 years, 20 years from now, we'll probably come to, researchers and historians will come to conclusions that we for the first 6 months, 9 months of this, we fundamentally misunderstood it. And hopefully, you know, the thing is that a lot of people don't understand is that the last major pandemic we had was the Spanish flu after the First World War. But, you know, folks, pandemics were really kind of common before then. I mean, people don't understand what modern health and modern medicine has done. I mean, as little as 200, 300 years ago, it was, here's another pandemic that we're going through. It was part of the dreadfulness of existence in those times. And now, and of course, again, I'll plug in, will the U.S. learn from this? Okay, because I guess I'll throw in my thumbs down, is that healthcare is still it's on everybody's mind, but it's not on the political agenda. That's just the way it is, If you consistently look at Republican and Democrat, independent, healthcare is either 1 or 2 on their list, but it doesn't translate into top line politics. And Trump's, gimme freebie thing here, that's just embarrassing. Okay, I mean, he's been in office for 3.5 years, and repeal and replace Obamacare. They had 2 years to do it, and they didn't do it. Okay, because they don't really know what to do. Okay,
I think the Republicans from day one have had a very poor policy towards healthcare. Although they talked a lot, nothing actually was achieved.
What has the Republicans achieved?
Nothing. That's what I said.
Okay. Well, this is because I'm going to do my thumbs up, thumbs down with George later today. But okay, I'll kind of give a sneak preview here. Is that with the heated debate about replacing Ginsburg's SCOTUS seat, it's gotten everybody off the hook. No policy, just wokeism, cultural war, all the way down to the wire. Okay, wow, that's really, really, really sad.
And briefly though, Peter, I'll give you a thumbs down, a strong thumbs down for me, which is not related to the US. And it's some interesting information that I came across this week to do with St. Andrews University in the UK, which is quite an elite university. And they've just released a statement not allowing all their students who study modern China as a course. They've released a statement saying that you should all stay away from writing about, you cannot write about Tibet, you can't write about Xinjiang, and you cannot write about Hong Kong in your dissertations or in any kind of academic essays, because we cannot protect you from the new law that China has released, saying that it does not accept propaganda in terms of talking about these situations and these autonomous republics. Hong Kong is going towards the new Tibet. You cannot talk about these propagandize these subjects, and it's not only applying to Chinese citizens, it's also applying to anyone. It's an internationally effective law. And I find it surprising that a university, a place of learning where academia is paramount, has applied internal censorship upon its students who are studying a course on modern China. And this is actually something I would like to talk about in an episode for the Gaggle later on, which is why is it in the UK you have such a strong dependence upon foreign students, particularly Chinese students, who are essentially funding the entire programs? And once you take that away, what have you got left?
Well, what is the original founding idea of the university in the West? It's very, very simple, is that the church had a stranglehold on what is true, what is not true, what can be discussed, what can be researched. And the universities were a safe place where it was it literally quite walled in, where you can do it there, okay? Because there was the knowledge that we cannot limit this. I mean, we can have coexistence, and we can be angry, and we can maybe not let you publish something, but let the thinking happen, okay? And that's the origins of Western universities here. And now, I mean, you know what China's doing? It's doing what the U.S. does. It's starting to sanction all parts of the world, every sector of life, okay? Because they're just tearing a page from the Americans, If the Americans go, we can do it too. That's really, really sad. But your point is well taken. The Chinese, either individuals or with government support, they're propping up a lot of Western education right now, okay? Again, we have to ask, what is fundamentally important? Is it the bottom line, or is the health and condition of your society? You have to choose. You can't have both, all right? And okay, maybe you're not going to make so much money, but you're going to still have a sovereignty in every sense of the word, okay? But people are willing to give it away at a drop of a hat.
Yeah, and the saddest part is that for universities, as you say, for like the Western ideal of a university is a place for free thought and explorations of the entire spectrum of ideas, regardless as to what. You are taught critical assessment and critical thinking and judgment, and whatever you may produce as an account of that, I think you should be free to choose whatever you want to research, whatever niche it is, without having this internal censorship applied to even thought processes of a course, because it also lessens the value of the course in question. Why study modern China when you can't talk about what's going on in Hong Kong, for example, or you can't write about Tibet and the situation there and theorize solutions to these problems? Then what's the point of a university? What's the point of that course?
I mean, and it's also it shows the enormous weakness. I mean, you don't have counter argument, and I'm directing this to China, to Beijing. You don't have strong counter arguments. I mean, that's a weakness on their part. Okay, I know the I know the history, modern history of Tibet. I mean, it's very controversial, and there are two very strong sides, but both sides have credence. Let's talk about it. Let's debate it. And we don't have to agree. But you can't say one side of the argument doesn't exist because I don't like it. You can't. Okay, you just can't do it that way. You can do it with Hong Kong. You can do it with Taiwan. Full spectrum. Okay, let's hash it out. Okay, but taking your gavel and slamming it down on your desk and say, but that problem doesn't exist. That it's like the Americans dealing with the Middle East. With Trump's peace plan for the Middle East. Well, the origins, the basis of his peace plan for the Middle East is the Palestinians don't exist. Problem solved. Same mindset.
Yeah, I'm just surprised also by the fact that St. Andrews is one of the most highest ranked universities in the UK. It's one of the most elite universities in the UK, and to pander to that, saying, okay, we'll suggest to our students not to do that because we can't protect the outcome of those papers. is shameful.
Yeah, but it's like the situation we have now in the U.S. We're not generating Russia experts. That just don't exist. So activist journalists, low octane thinkers and writers, they've been able to take over the Russia desk. Okay, that is appalling. It's appalling. Okay, so if you can't study something with rigor, then you're not going to understand what you're talking about, and you will make very important policy mistakes.
Mm-hmm. Well, Peter, that's all the time that we have, and thank you very much for joining me to go through these overall negative little thumbs sneaking in. And good luck with George later on today. Thank you everyone for listening. Don't forget to like, subscribe to our channel, and stay tuned for more.